wellness crew. Welcome to today's live stream. It is about loving yourself immensely and other things. As per usual, I free flow pretty much everything. Everything comes from the heart. It comes because I just feel like it's placed upon my heart, and I feel like I need to speak to something because it might reach someone that just needs to hear it. So a lot of times I kind of briefly mention that you must love yourself, or you need to love yourself in order to love other people, or in order to really be able to experience everything that you want to experience in life, everything that is going to be able to come to you most authentically, right? Everything that's going to be able to reach you, everything that you want, everything that you want to manifest, however you want to say it, you have to love yourself. But I don't really talk too much about the journey to getting there. And the reason that I guess I don't talk about it too much, or I have in a couple of live streams, but I guess I just felt like I kind of needed to do a little bit of a reminder. Um, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am a wellness coach, and I, do a lot of, on my channel, I do a lot of yoga videos and things of the like, because, fitness is a big aspect of taking care of yourself and being able to slow down our minds, slow down our brains, being able to connect with our bodies. That's a big component of being able to connect with ourselves and really connect with our hearts and our souls. And it's a big aspect of being able to learn how to love yourself, right? Oftentimes we're so separate. We have our masculine energy and our feminine energy. And our feminine energy tends to reside in our body, whereas our masculine energy tends to reside in our mind. So, in order to get everything to be a little bit more copacetic, right? Um, when I was growing up, I found myself very much able to connect with my feminine energy and being able to be in a place of creative expression and freedom, because I was very much involved with so many things that were kinesthetic. I was always, oh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. I was always involved in things where I was moving my body, where I was able to express myself, where I was able to release things that had happened to me in my youth. Um, Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate that. Things that happened in my youth that really shouldn't happen to any child. And I found myself being able to creatively express this through dance, through, things like that. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Y'all are so kind. So, being able to, I guess at that point in time, I wasn't thinking about it as a kid. I wasn't thinking about it as being able to express this as love for myself. I was more thinking about this as being able to not think about and compartmentalize things that had been going on that I didn't want to think about. I was just kind of pushing all my energy towards movement and towards things. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate that. You're kind of saying it for me. I always say that at the end. I never really say it in the beginning. um, so I just really, wasn't thinking about it like that, right? Because when you're younger, you don't think about these things. You kind of aren't thinking about it as an adult. You're just as a kid going through the flow of things. And thank you so much, Lucas. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. No, Charlie, I don't actually. um, so what I, wasn't seeing at that point, and what I wasn't connecting with, was something that was just happening naturally. I was finding a way to take care of myself and finding a way to, um, you know, finding a way to make sure that I was doing. Thank you so much, Gray. I appreciate you. I really do. I was finding a way to connect with myself and finding a way to heal myself through movement. And that was a way of loving myself just as a child. Now, as I got older, I started finding myself getting a little bit more negative and getting a little bit more, getting a little bit more resentful, right? Because what I started to do is get cyclical and start to kind of process things through my mind instead of processing them through my body, processing them through movement, through dance, through yoga, through the things that I really enjoyed. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. It's just lip balm. um, no, it's just a belly ring. So I found myself getting away from that and really getting into my mind and over analyzing and finding myself being unable to what you would call now as compartmentalization and using it in an unhealthy way. Hi, using it in an unhealthy way instead of using it as a way to get away from things that were negative. So you can use that as a way to take care of yourself. You can use that as a way to save yourself from things that are really traumatic and things that are really painful for you. Or you can use it as a way to really bury things down that are really negative and bury things down that are going to eventually come up and that you do need to release and that you do need to purge, you know, that you do need to like just get out of yourself. So I've found that movement has been very helpful for me, and doing yoga and using resistance, like using kettlebells, things like that. Anything with some type of movement is very helpful. Yeah, for some people, definitely. For some people, definitely, absolutely. So, see. Are you? I'm not sure why you're spamming that. Okay. So, for some people, definitely, you absolutely need to use them. Absolutely. For other people, you know, maybe that's not the route that they want to go. For some people, maybe it's something that they need to just talk with a professional about. It's all dependent on what you absolutely need for yourself. Everyone has been through different experiences. Everybody has been through different things. Everybody has been through different has chosen different things to experience and chosen different things to go through, because really everything comes down to the choices that we make, and everything has come down to the choices that we have sometimes not made for ourselves, especially as children. But as we've gotten older and we take responsibility, that's another form of choosing to love ourselves and choosing to make the best decisions that we can make for ourselves and doing the best that we can for ourselves and overcoming things that are obstacles and overcoming things that are difficult and overcoming things that may seem to be complicated. You have to understand, you know, that you will get into situations depending on what you do and depending on, again, the choices that you're making that may seem a little ironic, especially when you're trying to talk about loving yourself and especially when you're trying to talk about, you know, like why would you tolerate certain things and why would you put up with certain things? And it's like, well, I just look up. And I just don't, you know, acknowledge certain things. And sometimes that may mean that I have to stop acknowledging everything at one time and then I can look back again a little bit later. So I just kind of wait it out. That's me going in a roundabout way of saying how I protect and love myself and take care of myself and don't let negative things affect me. There's a time and place for everything. There are certain things that I just choose not to allow to bother me too much. But I do try to be as respectful as I can and as responsive as I possibly can be. It's just that in this space, definitely, it's about respecting each other. And if that can't happen, then I just stay, you know, locked in with a camera and just kind of wait for the rest of it to die down. So, um, but yeah, so it was really hard, you know, being in a position where I stopped doing the things that I love to do because I just got kind of trapped in my head and trapped in this place of always thinking about what happened to me as a kid and what happened to me um, as a well, as a kid, I guess being a teenager is also being a child. So, it's just you experience different things, right? And you go through a lot of things. You can go through things as an adult. I'm very vague on what I experienced because a lot of people have experienced a lot of different things. A lot of people have been through things that are a lot more difficult than I have. No, I don't actually. I don't like the smell of incense. um, so it just is one of those things where I feel like because of certain experiences that I've been through, I'm able to connect with a lot of different people. And I really enjoy being able to connect with people on that level because sometimes they're also stuck in certain cycles and they're unable to love themselves as well. They're unable to get to a point where they can give themselves that forgiveness or that permission to forgive themselves, that permission to accept themselves the way that they are, or the way that they feel like they want to be, but maybe they just can't be at that point in time. And they're stuck in a place of not being able to grow. They're stuck in a place of maybe taking things out on others or maybe taking things out on themselves and not being able to see that they can actually be in a much more positive and happier place and not feel the need to constantly lash out or constantly try to hurt others. And this happens a lot. It's just one of those things where it happens a lot. And it's just kind of more proof positive that you're not in a place where you're able to love yourself. And if that's something that connects with you, I am so sorry. If that's something that you're feeling in this moment, I am so sorry for that. But you can learn to grow out of it. And again, learning to forgive yourself. It's not something that's easy to do, but it is something that you can do. It took me a lot of time. It took a lot of inner work. It took a lot of acceptance. It took a lot of forgiveness. It took a lot of contemplation. It took a lot of me, honestly, just sitting down and really facing a lot of the things that I've experienced, a lot of the choices that I've made, a lot of the kind of like a lot of the feelings that I've experienced. Have I been the one that has been just experiencing it? Am I the one that's been, kind of seeing things from a certain perspective, not blaming others, but choosing to accept it for myself? Am I seeing things from an overly critical standpoint? And then saying, yeah, maybe I have, or maybe I am not, and being honest with myself and choosing not to lie to myself anymore. And that was a big one, right? Just changing my perspective and choosing to see myself as the person that I actually am and knowing that I can love myself no matter what. So that's something that you can do as well. It's always something that anybody can do, but it does take time and it does take patience. And, there's that saying like never pray for patience because it definitely is something that will take time. It's definitely something that will be like, oh my gosh, it will slap you in the face and you will get hit with situations that happen over and over again. That challenge, though, is something that will help you grow. That challenge is something that will help you face things and learn things about yourself that you thought you would never be able to face, things that you thought you would never be able to overcome, things that you thought you would never be able to just let go of and just be understanding. Thank you so much, Lucas. I appreciate that. So, it's just one of those things where you do learn things over time. You do accept things over time. You do learn to appreciate yourself and appreciate things about yourself. You can start to see flaws and not micro focus on them and see them as like, whoa, like, oh, this is something I have to beat myself up about. No, it's not. It's just something for you to accept. It's something for you to just see, accept, and be like, okay, this is a part of me. And this is something that I can learn to love. This is something that I can learn to appreciate about myself. This is something that I can learn to acknowledge. At the very least, acknowledge it. Acknowledge your flaws, acknowledge the good things about yourself, acknowledge that your perception might just be incorrect. That might just be it. It's very simple. um, It might just be one of those things where you just need to shift a little bit, or you just need to step away for a little bit, or you just need to understand that sometimes, especially in this moment, I will say this, sometimes hurt people just try to hurt other people. And sometimes people get a thrill out of trying to derail someone from trying to help other people. And they get a kick out of it, a thrill out of it, and they just enjoy it. And again, it just comes from a place of having a really deep wound. It comes from a place of having something that has happened to them. And it's having to understand that it's okay that these people are wounded, and it's okay to offer them forgiveness even if they're not asking for it, even if they don't want it, even if they're coming from a place of darkness and things like that. You just have to kind of let it go. You don't know who's on the other end. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've experienced. But it's so much easier to be able to come from a place like that when you've forgiven yourself and when you love yourself and when you understand that, you know, that's just where some people are at. You don't have to put up with it. I could very easily do things on my end to just, but I also understand that some people sometimes need an outlet. As a coach, people vent to me all the time. you know, they do. They vent all the time. And people need an outlet. People, sometimes can tire themselves out, or people don't tire themselves out. They just keep on going. And that's okay if that's what they need to do. I understand. I'm not a punching bag, though. I have a lot of value for myself. I think that you need to definitely have boundaries. You need to definitely hold yourself to a certain standard. But I, in this process of talking about love, have to also show that I have love for most of humanity. And I definitely, correct. Yeah. I just haven't gone through that process yet, Brian, but thank you for bringing that up. And I just, feel as though that people can, it's, we live in a free country, sort of. Sometimes it may not feel that way, but we do. And there is freedom of speech. I can't control certain things. Oftentimes people kind of talk about being triggered, right? And when we're talking about being triggered, if we're being really honest with ourselves, when we're being really authentic and true to ourselves, the thing is that we are not being triggered by another person. The truth is, when we're being triggered, it's actually us choosing to allow another person to bother us, you know? So that's all that it is. It's just one of those things where if we allow ourselves to get upset by things that other people are saying all the time, we have to, at the end of the day, understand that it's us allowing ourselves to get upset by what someone else is saying. So it's just one of those things. And it's okay, it's okay to accept that. It's okay to take responsibility for that. It's okay to acknowledge that in ourselves. It's very difficult for some people to understand that concept. But again, you have to really be able to come from a place of self love. And when you come from a place of self love, when you're able to truly love yourself, when you're able to really forgive yourself for things that have happened or things that have happened to you, and forgive other people for things that they do or things that they have done. I would say primarily things that have happened in the past, but even things that are happening in the present moment. And also being able to understand that things are going to happen in the future, that you're going to have to be able to forgive, other people for. You're going to have to be able to forgive certain situations. So when you're able to understand that, having that ability to just hone in, focus in, and understand that, oh, okay, I can actually actively be in a forgiving moment, in a forgiving present spot, right? It's great practice for knowing that you're going to have to be having forgiveness in the future. Again, that doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. That doesn't mean that you don't be in a place of just saying no. That's not what that means. It just means that you are in a place where you're able to offer love to other people, and you're also able to accept love from others. And when people are providing hurt, and when people are providing things that are detrimental, it's just, thank you so much, A. I appreciate that. Um, then it's just one of those things where, you know, you have to kind of let it go. But yeah, so when I was in my early 30s, that's when I really started to get focused in on learning about how to really get deeper into inner work and deeper into how to learn how to better, fix my cycles, right? I do a lot of readings on the gene keys. So, and they're not super popular, and I completely understand. It's like, why are you just reading from a book? And I'm like, well, not everybody has access to this. I kind of feel like I'm doing an audible. It's like an audiobook type of style thing. Yeah, I'm actually 36. I'll be 37 in a few months. So it's one of those things where I've learned a lot from studying the gene keys and studying human design. I don't do it like all the time. I'm not super crazy about it, but I like to learn as much about it as I can when I have the time to. And I've just felt like it's been incredibly helpful for me. So if there's ever something that you feel like would be helpful for you, if you're not someone that's incredibly, religious, or someone that's stuck on certain religions, I got on one of those comments that was actually really funny. I'm not gonna say by who, but that's pretty funny. Oh man, that was funny. Okay. Um so anyways, so I just feel like it's something that you can kind of use as a tool if you aren't really big into religion or big into, things like that. If you just want to grow spiritually, or if you want some type of text or whatever. If you don't really want to get into it, but you're kind of interested, I have a lot of live streams that you can go back and watch and get a little feel for it and kind of see if it's something that you're, into. If it's something you're not into, that's completely fine. I completely understand. But it's something that I found that has helped me as far as personal development goes. And as far as understanding, what I like about it is the linguistics of it. I like the language of it. And when it comes to learning how to love yourself, when it comes to learning how to approach certain things, when it comes to improving your self esteem and improving the way that we speak to ourselves, learning how to talk to ourselves is incredibly important. The way that we have our self talk, right? If we're constantly in a place of talking negatively to ourselves, how do we think we're going to be feeling? Negative, right? So, if we're coming from a place of talking to ourselves with not only a more positive language, but also choosing words, right, that are a little bit more, I want to use layman's terms, obviously, but just using words that are maybe a little bit more carefully selected, just words that are a little bit more carefully tailored for ourselves, words that mean something to us, right? If you enjoy, there probably is. I'm just trying to use as many layman's terms as possible. Keep it very basic. um, so I just really, thank you so much. Yeah, it's easy. It's just very easy to place a target. And you have to understand, while I do appreciate so much people wanting to come to my defense, you have to understand that a lot of these people are in a lot of pain, right? And they may not realize it, and they may be hiding behind jokes, and they may be hiding behind certain things. But underneath it all, they're coming from a place of pain, or they're just wanting to be humorous and they think it's funny, and don't understand that it could, be tearing someone down, or they're used to tearing somebody down, and that's their goal. But that comes from a place of pain. So understanding that, that's what it is, you just kind of have to let it go. Come from a place of love, right? That's how I feel it should be. I don't really I don't really expect people to come to my defense. And again, sometimes it just feels late on me to do the live streams. That's the only time I do live streams, is when I feel like it's really coming from some other place. Like I feel like I'm just led to do them. So, and we need a lot of understanding. We need a lot of understanding for others. There's a lot of divide in our country, and there's a lot of divide in other countries. There's a lot of divide in the world. I'll just put it that way. um, there's so much divide in the world. There's so much. It feels like there's a lot of two-sidedness, right? And the truth is, there's a lot more than just two sides. There's a ton of different sides. And if we can just approach it simply by trying to understand that we may not all agree on everything, but there's probably at least one small thing that everyone can find to agree on, and start from there. We can simply start from there. And you don't have to, right? If you want to stay entrenched in your spot, you totally can. That's your right, that's your place. When you put yourself out there on the internet, when you put yourself out there, especially in a public live stream, um, you have to have a thick skin. You have to be able to understand that you can't control other people. When you love yourself, you also understand that you truly love other people. And when you truly love another person, you can't control other people and their behaviors, the things that they say, the things that um, come out of their mouth, the things that come out of them in general, whatever they want to do. You can't control it in any capacity. Wanting to change someone else, for example, how do you think it feels when someone wants to change you? Doesn't feel good at all. So when you think about what it feels like to experience something yourself, it's kind of like, oh, okay, got it. But that's also where that defensiveness of someone that you're like, hey, hold on, that's also where that comes from too. So I get all of it. I get all the sides and all of it. And so I appreciate so much people that want to come to my aid and all that, but it really is okay. And it's probably people that need to hear it the most if they have ears that are open, if they have ears that are open, and that's all I can hope for, or hearts that are open. um and it's a difficult thing. It's a really difficult thing to hope that this can reach people that it really needs to reach. So that's my hope. That's all I can do. um so yeah, so once I kind of hit that journey in my 30s, you have to be able to. Exactly, Jay. 100%. Hi, James. Yeah. So change comes from within, right? Real actual change. When I was a personal trainer and a CrossFit coach, a lot of people would try to come in sometimes, and they would want to come in and say, I am doing this because I want to get healthier for my kids, or I want to, do this because I want to get healthier for my partner, or I want to do this because I want to get healthier for XYZ, right? Typically, yeah, that might work out for a little bit. But I love my Canadians so much. Oh my goodness. Whew. Okay, anyways. Um they're so funny. Okay. Um, but that typically isn't what's going to do the long-term changes. The long-term changes have to be intrinsic. The long-term changes have to be coming from yourself, coming from within, right? that's just where it lasts. That's where it comes from. It comes from a place of really being motivated from yourself. Why? If you really break it down, if you go all the way down to the root, it's because you love yourself. It's because you care about yourself. It's because you actually, you know, want to change. It's not because it's not this external thing. It's not coming from a third party. It's not coming because somebody else it's not because it's not because somebody else wants you, to, or because you feel as though you have to change for another person. It is simply because you want to change for yourself, or you see that you want to improve for yourself, or you see that you want to get healthier for yourself, right? These are all wonderful things. It would lead to burnout when it would come from some type of external thing. It would lead to it just not lasting, or the results might be quick initially and then they would fade. So same thing when it comes to when you're trying to get, healthier mentally and healthier and stronger mentally, especially, right? That's just what it is. you know? Um you have to just be able to take responsibility, take accountability, take action when you can. And there's going to be some times when I'm talking about self-love too, that means accepting yourself for the days when you're not always um hey Bran. So nice to see you on here. And yeah, so sometimes I come from a place of humor. There's some forms of humor that I just can't help but laugh at. Sometimes I will acknowledge certain things, and there's other names I won't shout out, but I still think that some things are funny because I come from a place of, I have a very silly sense of humor, and some things to me are just funny. Um, so, I don't take these things very seriously if that's where people are coming from, if that's what people want to do. Again, like I said, some people just do it because they want to break somebody down. Some people just do it because they want to hurt someone. Some people just do it because they want to have their comments on a stream, saved. So they want their little minute or whatever. So I don't really take it super seriously. When it gets to be too much or something, then I'll acknowledge it, or I'll just stop the live stream, right? It's definitely okay, but I appreciate so much people that are trying to step in for me. Thank you. um, so yeah, so once I started doing that work on myself in my early 30s, not that I hadn't been doing work in my 20s and things like that, but I just feel like I wasn't in a place where I felt like I needed it as much. I wasn't really keeping up so much with it. It wasn't a focus. I was busier doing other things, or I was compartmentalizing constantly. I wasn't making it like as much of a focus. But once I got into my early 30s and I was realizing that I wasn't really paying attention to the things that I was compartmentalizing, and that it was starting to eat me up, and I was starting to really get racked with guilt, and I was really starting to blame myself for a lot of things that weren't my fault, and I was taking it out on others in ways that I didn't really need to. And this was just a cycle that I had developed. It wasn't something that I was knowingly doing, but that I learned that I was doing through doing inner work and through studying different, things, and doing like CBT, DBT, learning more about the gene keys, learning more about human design, being able to take things away from things that had different types of language, right? Learning more from self love, learning more from coming from a place of authenticity, and not coming from a place of BS, and not coming from a place of fake it till you make it all the time, right? Initially, sometimes when we're wanting to make a change, yeah, maybe you can do that for sure. But long term, you have to really just be able to come from a place of acceptance and forgiveness. And those are the two biggest things in my personal opinion. You may hear otherwise from other people, and that's okay. We all have different opinions on this particular subject. But acceptance and forgiveness are the two really big ones. And we all have different, ways of going about it. We all are going to have a different order as well, you know. So it's different for everybody. But what I will say is that it really is important to try to see things as much as you can from a clear perspective. And whatever you need to be in that clearest perspective, do so, right? Whatever you need to be able to get out of seeing things from a one sided point of view and trying to see things from a lot of different sides, do so, because you're able to learn more. You're able to see more. You're able to gain more knowledge. You're able to grow. And maybe you don't always feel like growing every day. I know there's days I don't really feel like growing. I'm like, oh, I'm okay. Or I'm not feeling so great because I have an autoimmune disease or, whatever. It's not an excuse, but sometimes, hey, you can lay down an excuse if you want to. That's okay. Just accept it, acknowledge it, and just own it. Just be like, okay, but maybe I'm making an excuse today, and that's okay. If someone called you on your BS, maybe be like, that's okay too, Um, you might want to get that checked out. So, it's just things like that, just definitely being understanding and knowing that there's different places, there's different things, there's different tools, there's different ways to grow. I'm not going to be able to get into all of them in this live stream, of course. But I'm definitely going to be able to just say that I believe that everyone has an opportunity. I believe that everybody has a challenge in their life that they might be, experiencing, if not at this moment, that they've experienced before. You can spend some time thinking about that. You can spend some time thinking about that moment or those moments, um, and just kind of seeing, okay, that was a challenge, that was difficult. Instead of maybe ruminating on it, instead of maybe thinking about it as something so tragic and becoming a victim of it, seeing how you can grow from it, seeing how you can learn from it, choosing to see it as a learning moment. Again, making a choice. Can we change the past? No, but we can change how we can perceive it, and we can change how we can apply it to the future. So I hope that this was helpful for some people. I hope for other people, you got it out. Whatever you needed to get out, you got out. Thank you so much for joining me for today's live stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join one of the membership tiers as it is popping off with content. And I will see you on the next video or live stream. Be well, stay wild as well.